A 48-year-old married father of 3 died because 2 doctors were unable to communicate with each other. Let me tell you about that story. My name is Barry Washor, and I'm a medical malpractice attorney here in the state of New York. Our client was a 48-year-old man, and he had been seeing his doctor complaining of chest pain. He had a pain when he exercised, when he walked up a flight of stairs, and when he walked for several blocks, he noticed that he was short of breath. So he went to see his physician, who immediately gave him what is the proper test, an electrocardiogram, an EKG. And this EKG revealed that there were some subtle problems. And the doctor diagnosed his condition as angina. Angina is basically an exertional pain that people feel, and very often it's because the heart isn't receiving the proper blood supply through its coronary arteries. Now, we all know that the heart pumps blood to the rest of our body, and that all parts of our body, our brain, our liver, our lungs, even our fingers and toes, require this blood which contains oxygen in order for us to live. But the heart itself requires oxygen. And the heart receives its oxygen from the coronary arteries, which are arteries and vessels that supply this rich oxygenated blood. So when an individual such as our client is experiencing these problems of shortness of breath and pain when in his chest pain, when he's exerting himself, well, the doctor was correct in assuming that there could be some kind of a blockage, some plaque buildup in his coronary arteries. So the doctor then advised and recommended that the next step be taken and that the next test be performed, which was done within a day. The test is known as a thallium stress test. Now, we've probably all heard of stress tests. We've probably seen them in movies. When a person is asked to walk, and they walk faster, and then there's an incline where an individual then starts to walk as if they're walking up a mountain. And what the test is designed to do is to stress the heart, to make the heart work, to make the heart pump more, because as the heart beats more and as the heart beats harder, it requires more oxygen. And if there is a blockage in the arteries, that will result in pain, and that's why it's performed under these conditions where a physician is available. But there's a second part of this test in which a radioactive dye is injected into the veins, and the doctors can actually look and follow this dye and see how the heart is perfusing the blood. The test is routinely performed in 2 parts. There's a morning part and there's an afternoon part. Unfortunately for our client, this test was performed on a Friday afternoon. And while the results of the second part of the test revealed that he had a dangerous condition. He had a condition in which his coronary arteries were significantly blocked. This test result was obtained at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon by the physician, the cardiologist that performed this nuclear stress test. This physician immediately faxed those results to the referring physician, the internist, who was our client's initial doctor and who initially performed the EKG and referred him for the test. Well, over that weekend, not hearing from any of the doctors and not being concerned that there was any adverse effect, our client was out playing with his kids, working in his backyard, when he suddenly experienced severe pain and was taken to the hospital. And he didn't survive the heart attack that had hit him. The next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, his wife received a phone call from the physician, the initial physician who recommended these tests. And that physician said, "Ma'am, your husband needs to get to the hospital immediately. The tests were positive. They showed a problem." Unfortunately, it was too late. The man passed away. He had died the previous day. The story I'm telling you shows that physicians are human beings and they're capable of making mistakes like anybody else. But in an instance like this, there's no excuse why one physician couldn't communicate to another physician and advise of these dangerous conditions and results, and make sure that this man got to the hospital immediately. By the time that advice came, it was too late. My name is Barry Washor, and I'm a medical malpractice attorney. If you or your family members have any questions at all regarding the care and treatment that they've received by their physicians, call me. We can help. Thank you.